chat monitor, which of course is Naya, that will answer any of your questions. She can respond to all of your questions, okay? So when using chat, please make sure that you select the recipient as everyone, so we can make sure that everybody is seeing your chat. Okay, if you click on the icon at the bottom of your screen that says participants, you can actually see everyone that has joined us. We'll have about 20 minutes of presentation by our speaker afterwards. We'll have about 10 minutes of open Q&A. Without further delay, today we are honored and excited to have Dr. Rita Hargrave, MD, and the topic, the 4 S's of sleep success, simple strategies for better rest. Dr. Rita Hargrave is a board-certified geriatric psychiatrist and has over 45 years of experience. She has been a clinical instructor at the University of California, Davis, a psychiatrist at the Martinez VA Hospital, and the former chair of the American Board of Psychiatry and Neurology Committee on Geriatric Psychiatry Certification. Dr. Hargrave is a prolific author and has founded the website ethiceldercare.net and has also worked as a producer, filmmaker, and a producer on creative projects related to culture, diversity, and Latin jazz. And without any further delay, please let's welcome Dr. Rita Hargrave, MD.
Okay, good afternoon, everybody. Am I coming in clearly? Yeah? Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
So, in the brief time we have, I want to give you some tips about how to get better night's sleep. Now, and it's all based around a mnemonic called My Rest. But why is it important? Let me start off with that, because African Americans have a much higher rate of sleep problems that we know of. For instance, there's one, it's really common. It's called sleep apnea. So you snore a lot. You're waking up multiple times at night. You don't realize it, and you wake up the next day with a headache and you're tired. And that's a really important one because it can predict things like high blood pressure, can worsen diabetes, but it often doesn't get diagnosed. And I think it's only been recently that they've been looking at sleep issues in people in general and how they relate to health, but specifically with African Americans. That research is pretty new. Also, more than half of us sleep less than 6 hours per night, which for most grown-ups, that's really not enough. Now, why is it that we have trouble sleeping? Well, we all know how tough life has been. It's been as tough as it is today for ever since we got here. So, chronic trauma, daily stress. Another big one is that many health providers don't think about sleep issues as critical, and particularly around African Americans. Everybody knows we have high risk of diabetes and hypertension, so your primary care doctor or your nurse practitioner is probably on top of that, but they may not be thinking a whole lot about where sleep fits into this. Another reason, many of us live in areas that have a lot of noise, a lot of distraction. They may be unsafe areas, so that can also interfere with people's sleep issues. Finally, medicines. Many of us take 2 or 3 different sorts of medicines for our chronic health conditions, and sometimes those medicines have side effects, as in they get you really energized. So those are some of the reasons why sleep is important, why we tend to have more issues with it, but today's issue has more to do with how you can get a better night's sleep on your own. So let's see now, how do I get to my, now I'm sharing, how do I share my slides? Press share.
Sorry, my headphones are a little delayed, but yes, you're going to click share. And you should see the window that your slides are on. You're going to click that. I'm going to click the blue button at the bottom.
Okay, they're coming up now.
Perfect.
Okay, so My Rest is the mnemonic, or the it's what the titles are for the upcoming slides. So if you don't remember anything else, My Rest, and hopefully when you see the slides, you'll see how this all comes together. Let's see, I am not getting it to move forward. Any ideas about that?
You can either click your,
there
you go.
Okay, this guy looks like he's having a great nap in the middle of the afternoon. I'll be talking about naps too. So My Rest. My Rest means, M stands for mindful evening activities. Y is your sleep environment, like where you sleep and how comfortable it is. R is regular sleep schedule. That's a big one because we often have a lot of things going on, and we may have jobs where we have responsibilities, so we aren't able to get to sleep the same time every night. But a regular sleep schedule is something we'll talk more about. Exercise and activity, and for all of those of you who are part of the good life, you know about exercise and activity, and it's a really critical piece of getting a good night's sleep. Stress management, and again, the exercise and activity is one aspect of stress management. And finally, what do you do when you think you have sleep problems and you're in the office with your nurse practitioner or your doctor? So again, since it's not always at the top of the list of things your doctor is going to be thinking about, it's really important for you to be knowledgeable enough about it to ask for help. Okay, what do we do at night to get to sleep? That is not black tea, that is not green tea, that is chamomile tea with maybe a little bit of honey. So what do you do at night? So some of the nightly practices people can use, and maybe you are doing this already, a lot of times finding a way to think about positive things, gratitude prayers, thinking about your life, thinking about what you have to look forward to tomorrow. Those are simple things, but they really do sort of bring your blood pressure down. It helps you relax. And of course, me, I'm a big music fan. So I actually have, especially when I travel, I have a music playlist that I know will sort of soothe me. And jazz, R&B ballads, blues, I'm a big fan of Latin jazz. Or if you just want to turn on the radio, so many stations like KCSM, let me pitch KCSM, and others will have music that's geared towards winding down in the evening. Sometimes it actually starts in the afternoon. But definitely, if music is something that eases you, find a way to make that happen. I have more recently been creating a playlist on my phone so that I know exactly how to get to music that's going to be relaxing. Another thing that people do is they do either family check-ins through uh, writing letters, emails, but with those emails, and I'm going to talk more about how social media and the digital world we live in, how that can also interfere with sleep. It may be making a list of the things that you have to do the next day, again, to sort of take that extra pressure off your mind about worrying about tomorrow. And sort of finally, herbal teas. I'm a fan of chamomile, passion flower, and mint. And I have this combo of mint and chamomile. I actually grow mint to get, a really strong essence of the mint. And it is not only is it relaxing, if you have any sort of stomach troubles, that's one of the best ways to sort of ease out your angry and noisy stomach. You see the bottom, I say coffee. No, no, no. And I ask people all the time if they talk about they're having trouble sleeping. I'm saying, how much coffee do you drink? And when do you have that last cup? I mean, it's routine and then I go on to, and what kind of energy drinks are you drinking? And when do you have that last bit? And it's not unusual for people to say, yeah, I have my last cup of coffee with dinner. That's like 2 hours before they're going to go to sleep. So is it any surprise that they can't get to sleep and they're waking up all the time? And again, as we adjust to the changes in our body with time, if you were able to sleep with a cup of coffee at 6 o'clock or 7 o'clock at night when you were 20, there's a good chance you probably can't do that right now. You may have to have that last cup more around 1 o'clock. And I really encourage people to test this out for themselves. But I know for me, I know I cannot have a lot of caffeine after 1 o'clock. And, hot chocolate, I'm a big chocolate person. So for me to say I can't have chocolate or a chocolate cake after a certain period of time, it's difficult. But it's really something you can test on your own. Now, so those are the nightly practices. How do you relax? People use progressive muscle exercises. And again, going online or talking with someone who is knowledgeable about health and wellness, finding muscle relaxation exercises, also deep breathing exercises that can help you calm your mind, calm your body. Meditation works for some people. And I'm a bath person. So to take a warm bath or a warm shower, that's, again, a wonderful way to relax your body, so to put your mind in a space where you're more likely to feel ready to go to sleep. I love massage. I absolutely love massage and yoga. Again, so those are really physical ways to relax your system, any kind of aches and pains, so you're in a better position to get into bed and feel ready to fall asleep. Now, I put at the bottom here blue light glasses, because we spend so much time on our phones, our tablets, and the light that comes off those devices actually goes straight to your brain to keep you awake. But they have developed blue light glasses, and you can get them as readers. You can get them well, when you used to be able to buy stuff in the drugstore. Right now, I don't know how much is actually left or if the drugstore is open, but you can buy glasses that will allow you to read, but you will not get the same sort of blue light off of those devices. And I've been using that more often now. So those are the mindfulness routines that can get you prepared for sleep. Now, wise for your sleep environment. That's a beautiful I just went forward here. That was a beautiful shot of what looks like a very comfortable bed in a gorgeous bedroom. But it's more than how it looks. So optimizing your sleep space is very important. Most people feel most comfortable in a cool temperature. Now, everybody's a little bit different. And you may be somebody who the outside temperature may be cool, but your feet are absolutely freezing. And I'm a big one for that. So if you got to put on socks, I don't care what time of year it is. If that makes you comfortable, do that. But trying to keep things cool, blackout curtains or eye masks, and those are much more available now, especially eye masks, because people are using them on the airplanes. Either a white noise machine or earplugs. Again, just sort of something that keeps that external stimulation down to a minimum. And of course, what's the bed like? Is it comfortable? Does it work for you? And finally, in terms of optimizing the space, we're back to the music, because the music is part of the environment that you're sleeping in. At least that's for me. Could be other things for other people. So those are things to think about when you're trying to get the best possible sleep environment for you to be able to fall asleep and stay asleep. Now, another piece of this is safety, and I know this is increasingly a problem just about everywhere. Break-ins and all kinds of things are out there. So being sure that you have locked all of your windows, doors. I do a walkthrough to be sure everything's in place. And if you do wake up at night, I often have people say, well, I didn't sleep. I woke up twice at night, and I had trouble getting back to sleep. Or I say, how long did it take you to get back to sleep? Oh, it was about 10 minutes. And I say, the only people who sleep straight through the night without waking up are teenagers. Babies don't stay awake all night most of the time, and grown-up and old folk don't either. So it's not bad if you wake up, but you can expect that maybe you have to go to the restroom. So it's not unusual, but it's being able to get back to sleep. Now, say if you wake up at night and have to go use the restroom, have a night light so you don't trip and cause more problems. And then remove any sort of electronic distractions. Watching the television, getting your tablet out. If you can make that something that you put aside, and I say these days, an hour before you're planning on going to sleep, there's a greater likelihood that you'll be able to get to sleep and not wake up in the middle of the night and not be able to get back to sleep. Regular sleep schedule. Now, I don't know how many of you have a regular time you go to bed, or does it just kind of depend on the evening? Like if there's a series on Netflix that you have to binge, and you saw the first 4 episodes and you can't wait till the next day to see versions 5 and 6, and you stay up, that was probably going to muck up your sleep schedule. So I'd say, put that thing on pause and watch the rest of the series the next day. And going to bed at the same, even though it's a simple concept, the power of consistency in terms of your regular sleep schedule is really critical. So basically going to bed at the same time nightly as close as possible, and waking up in the morning at the same time as much as possible, even on the weekends. No sleeping in, because your body has gotten used to a certain routine. And if you muck it up by staying in bed 2 hours later, then by the time Monday comes around, your body and brain will say, what happened? Why are you doing this to me? So again, to sort of stay on a schedule that is consistent throughout the week. Now, if you have to take naps, don't take them for more than 20 or 30 minutes. Because I often talk about sleep snacks. So I have people that I talk with who may wake up at 9 and they feel still kind of groggy. And they say, well, let me take a nap. And right after lunch, they'll take a 3-hour nap. And then they wake up. And then when they try to get to sleep at night, they can't get to sleep. And I say, it's sort of like if you're going to have dinner at 7, if you take snacks at 2, 3, 4, and 5, you won't have any appetite at 7. And sleep is the same way. Although there's some people that tell me they can snack all day long. It doesn't make any difference. But for sleep, it's really important to consolidate the sleep. You know, you put all of it in one bucket, one basket, and usually in the evenings. Naps after 3 if you have to, but keep them really short and put a timer on. Now, how much sleep do you need? Again, that's an individual issue. For most people over a certain age, 7 to 8 hours is ideal. Now, like 90% of people don't get that, but it's at least a goal to work towards. And you know your body. For instance, for me, if I travel, this whole schedule thing gets thrown out of whack because I'm in a different time zone. So I just, try to do the best I can and put that into the equation. That it's going to be a couple of days before I get my sleep schedule back to the way I'm used to. And it takes at least a couple of weeks, or stick with establishing new sleep habits for at least a couple of weeks. Don't expect that things are going to get better overnight. So about 2 weeks, 3 weeks, that's probably a good measure. And you may want to think about if there are particular days when you got a really good night's sleep. What was different about those evenings? What happened? I know for me, if I did a good workout, I took a hot bath, if I sort of stayed away from media for a while, those are the nights I probably get good sleep. But if I have been doing things later in the day and don't get my exercise, I can already know that it's going to be more of a headache. Like the other day when we had the earthquake, I had been having trouble falling asleep, and I had just sort of gotten to sleep around 1:30. The earthquake, I woke up. I could not get back to sleep. So again, there are things that happen that you don't have any control over. But so the next day, I upped my exercise. I took a hot bath. I stayed away from the television, had chamomile tea, and it worked itself out. So it's a day-to-day thing. And back to this exercise and activity. Daily exercise, and you folks already know how important it is to have daily exercise, either in person or virtually. I mean, there's a ton of people who are part of walking groups. I'm a big dance person. Whatever dancing that you like to do, line dancing, stepping, salsa, a good, enjoyable 20 your body energized, tire you out so you're able to get a good night's sleep. Also, even gardening or yard work, especially now as the seasons are changing, there's a lot of stuff to do. That's, again, a great way to exercise and get some of the tension out. Finally, swimming or water-related activities. I am so impressed by what water aerobics can do, because it feels like you're not doing a whole lot until you stop. If you got a really good trainer, a really good teacher, they'll make it fun, and you've been moving around for 25 or 30 minutes, and then you don't feel it until you get out, and maybe like 3 o'clock in the afternoon, you're like, oh my gosh, I'm so tired. That was the goal, to get you up and moving so that your body releases a lot of the stress, and then you'll be able to get to sleep at night. So the general guidelines are 30 minutes or more of moderate activities of daily activities. And that could be a walk. It doesn't have to be running, but walking every day helps. But you want to be sure that you do that at least 3 hours before you go to bed, because it takes a while for your system to kind of wind down from that. So don't get on the Stairmaster at 11:30. We really say, do it earlier in the day. Try and get that early morning sun exposure. Sometimes right now we're sort of in that transitional period where there's not as much sunlight out there early in the morning as there is when the sun goes up. But whatever you can to get sun exposure. And finally, along with that exercise, stretching and yoga or whatever sort of physical ways to release tension you should do before you go to bed. Stress management. She looks like she's in a place where she's definitely trying to release, definitely trying to minimize the stress. So there are many ways that, and again, all of you who are part of the Good Life program, I would imagine to some degree why you're doing this is to help relieve stress. We're all looking for a way to do that. And so participating in community support networks like the Good Life. For some people, it's more faith-based stress activities or de-stress activities, storytelling groups, music therapy. Again, I'm a big music person, so I take music classes, listen to jazz. For other people, it's craft circles. So whatever can help you release the tension, be around other people, put your mind in a good space. All of those things help reduce stress, which makes it easier for you to fall asleep. On the more physical side, doing things like deep breathing exercises, muscle relaxation, any sort of mindfulness meditation. And a simple one that I've used a lot is if I know I have a bunch of things that I need to do during the week, I will make the list of things that I have to do and, check off the ones that I've done. So I say, okay, I don't have to stress about that because it's done. And the list has already gotten shorter. So I don't have to stress about all the things I haven't done. So it's, again, it's a way to deal with worries and a lot of tasks so that you don't take that to bed with you. So whatever you can do to sort of put that stuff aside will help you get to sleep faster and stay asleep longer. Finally, what do you do if you're having sleep problems and you're going to your doctor? And as I've said before, it's really been only in the last, I'd say, 5 years that there's been an awful lot of attention in primary care about how common sleep problems are, what the effects are on your body and on your spirit. It's only recently that they've really been taking a close look at what's going on. And I'd say for a lot of people, the pandemic is really what ticked off all his interest because so many people were dealing with sleep problems and stress. As if they had the illness, it would wreck things up, and then afterwards worrying about how you're going to get through life. So when do you talk with your doctor about? I mean, you can talk to your primary care or your nurse practitioner if you have problems sleeping for more than a couple of weeks, because I think it's pretty common for people to have issues that come up, and they might might be positive things if they're going to take a trip and they are up at night trying to figure out how to organize themselves for it. But once the trip is over, they relax and they get back to their normal sleep habits. But if you're finding for like a couple of weeks, a month, most of the people I talk to, they've been struggling with sleep for more than a year. So if you're finding that the sleep problems are sticking with you, to really talk to your primary care doctor. If your partner says, my God, you're snoring so loud, I couldn't get to sleep. Or, you stop breathing a lot. That's like a red flag to talk with your doctor about, do you have that illness called sleep apnea, which means you stop breathing like multiple times a night. If you find that, the next day you cannot stay awake at all, no matter what you do to keep busy, and it's a persistent problem. And finally, think about and talk with your healthcare provider about medications that may be interfering with your ability to sleep, because there are many stimulants that are sort of embedded. You have stomach problems, all of those things, those medications associated with that might be interfering with your sleep. And finally, the last thing is to find somebody who actually listens to your concerns. And I'm a big fan of if you have somebody that you're sleeping with, a partner, that person is also can be such an incredible resource in terms of being able to back up what you say and actually give more information. Like if you're snoring in the middle of the night, you probably don't know that you're snoring. you probably don't know if you stop breathing. But the person who's in that room, or the partner who's had to move to another room to get away from your snoring, they'll be able to tell you how long it lasted and how many times it happened. If you feel that you didn't get as much as you would have wanted from your interaction with your primary care doctor, you can ask about studies, sleep studies, because a lot of times they're looking for people who are having sleep problems to be able to be part of studies. And these studies have machines and devices that really track and monitor sleep. Reviewing all your medications with your doctor, and I didn't say caffeine. Did I say caffeine? Caffeine again, coffee, caffeine, Red Bull. There's so many people who, when I say, okay, how many cups of coffee did you have? Now, especially these folks that have long distance drivers, like the guys that drive the trailers. I mean, some of them will routinely do 2 or 3 Red Bulls before noon, and so there's no surprise they have trouble sleeping. But reviewing medicines and the other things that you do. Cigarettes, another big one. So those are some of the things to think about when you're working with your healthcare provider. And if you're not getting what you need from them, we really encourage you to look at some of the major. There's a sleep. Well, I think I put it in my notes. There are a couple of if you get AARP has always deals with really common issues like sleep. There's also a healthingaging.org online website that talks a lot about managing sleep. And we're down to the questions.
All right, thank you so much. That was a very interesting and engaging presentation, because I know a lot of us probably have sleep issues. I know sometimes I have a very hard time sleeping at night. And I was actually awake. I wasn't even asleep. I was watching TV
Oh,
Monday morning when the earthquake happened. So I felt the whole entire, I heard it coming and then I felt it. So then I really couldn't sleep after that. It was pretty bad. So anywhoosie, so thank you so much for that presentation. You guys, you know the drill. If you have any questions for our presenter, Dr. Rita Hargrave, please go ahead and raise your hands, use your hand raising icons, or unmute yourself, and we will take your question. Let's see, we have a lot of things going on in the chat. Let's see. Do we have any questions?
I see there's a Patricia that raised her hand. That's what I'm
Okay,
seeing.
go ahead and unmute yourself.
All right,
Patricia.
here, Patricia.
Yeah, I went to a sleep kind of a workshop at the senior center a few years ago. And one of the things they mentioned was the link of sleep deprivation and Alzheimer's or dementia. And they gave the example of President Margaret Thatcher and Donald Reagan, who survived on 4 hours of sleep each night. And they both died from Alzheimer's. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Well, yes. 2 things about that. There is an increasing interest in the connection between sleep problems and dementia, because one of the things sleep does is it clears out all the trash in your brain. That's one way of putting it. That it is there for a reason, to help the brain and all the pieces of the brain restore and reconnect. So if you continue to block that, the trash kind of builds up, and it's harder for the nerve cells to talk to each other because there's all this stuff in the way. That's the current theory about it. Now, there's a lot of, and we have to be concerned about this because we as African Americans are at greater risk for dementia, not because of sleep, but more because of, high blood pressure and stroke and diabetes, all of those things. So we're already loaded to be at greater risk for dementia. So trying to take away one other problem like sleep is really helpful. And the other thing about sleep is it's underdiagnosed. We don't think about sleep being a major health problem. So unless it's causing big trouble, you figure, well, it's going to go away. But I think, again, the medical community is now, and we really don't have good diagnostic tools for general insomnia. For sleep apnea, you can measure that. You can put somebody in a sleep lab. It can measure how many times they stop breathing and wake up a little bit at night. You can look at the oxygen levels in their blood based around these breathing issues. But there's a lot of sleep problems that there's no really good test for. So it's we know more about it, but we know there's a whole lot we don't know.
All right, thank you for your question, Patricia. We have a question from the chat from Gloria. She says, Dr. Hargrave, do we need to make adjustments when we set our clocks back?
Oh, that's a big one. I feel it, and that's been the debate for decades because it's really clear that people sleep is really affected by that 1 hour change. It's not only that they're more tired, there's more car accidents. I mean, and the school performance goes down. So we know that even 1 hour's change can make a difference. And I know there's been continued debate about whether or not we should do that. So yeah, I think certainly for me, I can definitely feel and it will take like a week or so with that change in time for my system to get adjusted. So yeah.
So I just had a thought. Do you think when that happens, to help ourselves adjust in a healthier way, that maybe we should go to bed like an hour and a half or 2 hours earlier?
Yeah, I
Get
mean
like
that's a
extra
good.
sleep?
Yep, I would
Yeah.
definitely say that. And to use all of those other relaxation techniques to help you prepare for sleep. So yes,
Yeah.
I'll have to remember it's coming up pretty soon in
It's
what,
coming up soon,
October?
yeah, because we had the fall equinox was Monday or Tuesday? I think it was Monday.
So by
Um,
next month, we'll be in it trying to figure out how do we deal with the time change. And again, I know I'm sensitive to this because if I change a time zone, I always say that if I travel, if for every time zone that I wind up in, that's another hour that my sleep gets off. So yeah, I know
yeah,
that it's an area that I'm sensitive to. Yeah.
that's a really good question, Gloria. Thank you. Yeah, because I know it takes me a while to adjust to the daylight saving switch in the fall. I love it in the spring when we get the extra hour, but when the fall comes up,
Yeah.
I'm like, oh God, because it's like dark earlier, right? And it
Mhm.
gets, like, yeah, the sun comes up later, it gets dark early, you have very little sunlight. It's a hard adjustment for me. All right, do we have any more questions? This is a really good presentation. I know you guys have some questions. I know Kathy Leonard asked, can we provide the link to this recording? It was extremely helpful and I would like to review. And I believe this presentation will live on our Facebook, Naya. Oh, there it is, right in the chat. There's your link.
Oh, good, good.
Thank you so much for the chat. Dr. Hargrave, I really appreciate your class. I debated whether I should take it or not because I was going to do something else, and I'm glad that I took the class. Very, very important. So thank you so much.
Good, and have a great night's sleep, and don't drink any coffee after 1 o'clock.
I'm off coffee.
Oh, even better, even better.
Yeah. It
Awesome.
impacts my eczema, so I'm off of it.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Sadly. But
Mhm.
yeah, thank you again.
Okay, thank you.
Any more questions for Dr. Hargrave? I know some of you guys might be watching the presentation from the line outside, getting your ingredients. All right, Dr. Hargrave, I think we are good. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for your time. Wait, I see something else going on in the chat, but it's going to be hard for me to get over there because now I have. Now, if there's something else in the chat, you're going to have to read it for me because I'm having a hard time with my mouse.
Can you guys hear me?
Yep.
All right. So we have one more question from a participant in Facebook. Hello, Richard Williams. And the question is, how long should you wait after noticing an issue before seeking medical attention?
I'd say call them as soon as you feel that it's a problem that's been going on for more than a month, because there's so many things that might be, and hopefully this will not be the first time you've talked with your doctor or seen your doctor in 3 years. Because a lot of times people will say, oh, everything's fine. And they don't call or make contact until everything is falling apart. So, as part of, regular check-ins with your primary care doctor or whoever your main medical provider is. I'd say if there's a shift for more than, and you have tried these suggestions that I have brought up, if those are not working and it's lasting for more than a month, I'd say it's a good time to at least let them know this is a concern of yours.
Thank you. That was it.
You. All right, Dr. Hargrave, thank you so much for your amazing informational webinar today. We really appreciate it, and this information is very useful. Hopefully you all take all of the tips and make use of them, because sleep is really important for your cognitive health. Once again, we'd like to thank UC Davis School of Medicine, California Department of Health, City of Oakland's Aging and Adult Services, and the City of Oakland's Park and Rec for this programming. Join us October 29th for our next Mind, Body, and Spirit with Jennifer Pardini in Medicare Open Enrollment. And we like to say, have a beautiful day. It looks like it's going to rain. Actually, I think it might be raining outside. So it went from hot to rain. So you guys be safe out there. Thank you so much. Enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you, Dr. Hargrave.